Okay, y'all, so it's been a while, and I know I've been getting comments saying, what's going on, where's the updates, and blah blah blah, yada yada yada. And I honestly have to say I had to really lay low and just make sure I was covering my ass, because there were certain stuff I was trying to set up, or I was just basically just trying not to give anyone any additional reasons to start doing certain stuff, you know, because it's been like a month and 2 weeks, I think, since I made my last video. And if you recall, for those who did watch, my last video was talking about my first month. I made it to a month on Dollar General. Well, guys, let's just say after I made that video, everything went to shit. Everything just went to shit. I mean, literally to shit, okay? So I'm gonna start telling you what's been going on, but I just want to say I'm gonna have to do this video in parts because it's been so long. There's so much information I have to share, so I'm gonna have to do parts to get you, but you basically to have you catch up, is what I should say. So the update is I am no longer on the Dollar General account, but more recently, and recently as of Friday, so last Friday, I am no longer with Werner. So yeah, I had to leave. I definitely had to leave. So today is April 17, 2023. So you can track to last week, the date for last week. So I'm no longer with them. I handed in my truck, my keys. I made sure everything was good for me to exit with them not pinning anything on me. So in order for me to truthfully tell you the story, what I've been experiencing for the additional month and a half, I have to go all the way back to February 28th. Well, 27, 28, because that's when, yeah, that was my last day on the Dollar General account. So the week of 27, 28. So I'm not going to tell you, rush forward and tell you certain stuff. Just going to get into it because I don't want to draw it out. I've tried to make this video multiple times. So today I decided I need to get the video done. So I'm going to start by saying disclaimer. Whatever I mention on my channel, it's my experience. Now, I can only do what I think is right and be honest with you guys. So you can use my experience to add additional details, you know, so you can get pros and cons, but it's my experience. It doesn't mean it's going to be your experience. It could be entirely different for you. So don't use me as a deciding factor when it comes to that company, Werner, right? It's really just me being honest. So second thing I should say is, guys, dispatchers are not your friends. Dispatchers are not your friends. Don't ever get too comfortable thinking that they have your best interest at heart. You may get lucky. I hope you get lucky to find one who actually cares about you as a driver. But most of them, based on what I've seen, it's the money, the load. That's it. They want to run you to money, the load. That's it. So, and when I say dispatchers, I mean your fleet managers, your transportation manager, TM, FM, dispatcher, whatever you want to say. They're not your friends. So be careful with the information that you share with them, because it could possibly be used against you for like retaliation tactics. And my story goes like this. So there was an account for Dollar General, well, a delivery I should say, for Dollar General I had to do in Maryland. And I remember I trip planned for that delivery. I did my Google satellite to see how the parking was set up, all of that. It was a blindside backing, but that day the Lord was shining down on me and I got my blindside backing done good. I got in, no problems. I didn't hit nothing. As soon as I got out, went to the back, to the open door, the manager met me there. It's like basically she wanted to put me up on game to let me know what I was in store for. And she was concerned for me, I think, because I was a woman and I was unloading the truck. So she's like, honey, I'm so sorry this has happened. Let me just tell you what's been going on. She basically says for a couple months now she's been, you know, asking for a certain area in front of the ramp to be fixed because it's making the unloading take longer. And additionally, a driver had a cart fall over on him, right? So we're talking potential injuries here, right? So the reason for that is for Dollar General, you have like a small ramp. Based on which location you go to, you have a ramp, and then you might have to put a metal ramp over that ramp just to get the rotainers in through the door. It depends on how the store is set up. But this store had a ramp, then it had a wooden ramp going down into the store. So it had a ramp outside, concrete ramp, and then a wooden one on the inside, right? But in front of the concrete ramp outside, the concrete basically started giving away. So it started breaking apart. So now I'm looking at mud and concrete. The issue that this presents is that the wheels for the rotainer are going to get stuck in the mud while you're trying to push it up onto the ramp. Now imagine you have a rotainer filled with water. You already have to build momentum to push that rotainer up the ramp. But because of the mud, it's getting stuck. Now, you know how much energy you waste trying to push a rotainer through mud into the store? It was so bad that the manager got cardboard and tried to lay it on the mud just to get it in. Listen, I've been trying to make this video for the longest. My storage is messing up, like my camera's overheating, so now I have to switch over my phone. But I want to get this video done, so let's pick up where I left off from. So, you know, the mud. So for that particular store, I had to basically downstack all of my rotainers. So I had to downstack at least to a half in the rotainer, because we're talking about water, pet food, all the heavy stuff. Whichever rotainer was light, I was able to push that through the mud into the store. So I had to downstack the heavy ones to a U-boat just to get it in the store. And then for those U-boats, some of them I had to still rebuild my rotainer because I needed the U-boats for the toppers. Long story short, I made it through that load. I unloaded. Sometimes I don't even know how I even got through some of those loads because it was a bunch of bullshit, right? So my dispatcher calls me, and basically he gave me my load to Virginia. So I was excited because I haven't been back to Virginia since training, right? So I'm like, it's a good load. The miles were good. So I'm like, yeah, I just came off this bullshit load. So at least now I can, you know, redeem my damn self with the Virginia load. And I'll get more miles, so I'll get more money for that load. There was no discussion about any problems with my logs, no time, nothing at all. He just gave me the load, and that's how we normally operate. Now, I mentioned to him after he gave me my load, which was the dumbest shit I've ever done, because I've heard not to tell your dispatcher certain stuff. Just go to the department that you need to go to, right? But I was trying to switch from the account a week before that. I called driver experience, career center. There was no account. All of a sudden, for some reason, all of the accounts were full. We couldn't get into any account. I'm talking no solo over the road. Nothing was available, right? If there was something that was available, you need 3 to 6 months of experience. All of a sudden, all the accounts are full. So only account was available was Canada and Coca-Cola. And I'm like, hell no, I'm not going to Coca-Cola in New York City. No, with 1 month experience, I'm not doing that. I'm not taking no chances. Canada? Nah, I'm not going to Canada. So I spoke to him thinking that probably I could get more information or really get off the account. So I said to him, you know, I think I'm going to have to switch because I'm feeling like I'm going to hurt myself, or based on the location, I'm going to hit something, and I don't want to mess up my CDL. That's what I stress. I don't want to mess up my CDL and safety, right? Safety that they care so much about. He's like, oh yeah, nice. Oh my God. Yeah, I understand. Call career center, blah, blah, blah. He told me what to do. I already called them, but I was like, let me call back and see, right? He got off the phone with me. He said he's going to talk to the person. I don't want to say his name, right? So this is Bethel, PA, the location I was at, Bethel, PA. He's going to talk to the manager or whatever. I don't know why he had to talk to the manager, but I didn't think anything of it, whatever. Guys, I tell you no lie. One of my friend that was also working the account, who also went to the same CDL school with me, he called me back, and he's basically like, he called me. He's like, oh man, I got this shitty ass load. It's going from, I think from PA to upstate New York, or upstate New York, PA. But it was a shitty load, right? A heavy load at that. 2-stop load, right? He already was complaining about getting 2-stop loads that were overweight. So 40-something thousand two stop loads. You know how much stuff you got to unload? And not only that, you know how heavy the unloading is for that? When normally one trailer was 3 to 4 deliveries at 45,000 or 40,000. Yeah, think about it. Remember, I said nothing was discussed about me having any issues with me, my account, nothing. But I mentioned that I wanted to try to switch off the Dollar General account. I told my friend I was going to Virginia, right? So we there talking about our loads. He told me he got to call me back. Somebody's calling him from Werner. So when he called me back now, my friend's going to tell me, oh my God, he's going to Virginia now, right? So our dumbasses, well, my dumbass, I'm thinking we're both going to Virginia. So we're even talking about, oh, we can meet up probably. Let's see where each other is going. Now that night, I remember I got back to the DC like at the last minute before my clock was about to run out, because I'm like, I just want to get back to the DC. I don't want to sleep in Maryland. I'm not sleeping nowhere in Maryland. I was over Maryland after that little gunshot situation. I don't trust Maryland no more. Made it back to the DC, parked my truck before I hit any violation. So I said, let me go inside to get my bill of lading, right? So I can trip plan. I go into the Werner app to look at my jobs. Guys, tell me why my Virginia load is no longer there. Tell me why I'm seeing upstate New York and PA. Now, remind you, my friend already told me about his load, right? Tell me why they took my load away from me and gave it to my friend, and which is a man, and took his load, heavy overweight load, and gave it to me. And remember, this was after I mentioned I want to switch. So now y'all retaliating. It's like, because I said I want to switch, it's like, oh, she about to leave. She want to leave. So we don't need to give her no good loads. Now, mind you, this dispatcher only told me to call to see if I can get an account. I'm not sure if he knew, because a lot of people didn't know at that point yet that most of the accounts were full. There was nowhere for us to switch accounts and go to. So I don't know why he did that to me, to jump and tell office manager I'm going to leave and blah, blah, blah. But they started to retaliate against me because I said I was going to switch. You know, I sucked it up and I did the load. And I'm telling you, no lie. When I got to PA, I started the load. That one load was probably 18,000, I think, for that one load, 18,000, right? That's one of the highest load I've ever most heaviest I've ever done for like one delivery for a store. When I said the trailer was stocked all the way up so high to the point, guys, where they had pet food as a topper. They had pet food thrown up. Everything was to the top of the trailer. So in order for me to pull out the rotainers, well, anyone who works the account knows when you pull out the rotainers, your toppers will fall down and it makes it kind of easier. You don't have to climb up or get a ladder, right? Okay. Trying to pull out my rotainers. Guys, I couldn't even move my rotainers. That's how packed that was and how overweight it was. When I said toppers were everywhere. Then I started unloading, my lift gate stopped working. I had to pause and wait for 3 hours. 3 hours for someone to just come and fix it because the battery died. It took him 20 minutes just change out the batteries, right? I was back in business. I was there until 10 p.m. when the store was about to close. And the guys inside, you know, Dollar General workers, they can't help us unload. It's a liability issue. But they felt so bad for me that they tried to help me. But 10 p.m., that's when I got it off. At 10 p.m., I couldn't even move. I had to sleep at the location, right? I couldn't even go to my next stop. My next stop was in upstate New York. I sucked it up. Even my lift gate was broken. It's like they want to rush me and they want to ask, oh, what's the hold up and blah, 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 whatever. My lift gate's not working. I had to call for over the road maintenance. Y'all know how it go. I'm all the way up close to upstate New York, right? It took the guy a long time to get to me to repair the whole arch or change the battery, right? So that messed up my time. That's 3 hours that I could have used to actually drive to upstate New York. And if I gotta sleep overnight upstate New York, then so be it. And I'll unload in the morning. So I didn't get to the last load in upstate New York until the next morning, right? So when I got to upstate New York, I was worn the hell out, but I have the load, so I gotta finish it. So I did my job. This one, it was worse because I think this one was, I don't know, it was probably 20,000, 20 something thousand, right? Because I said it was 40,000, right? So I got that one. No, correction, I'm jumping ahead. So this one's probably like 38,000. I'm jumping ahead. I'm not to the 40 something thousand load yet. So I did the load. It took me forever to unload that store. Like forever to unload. You get me? And then what happened is that once I finally unload, basically it was a snow. It started to snow in upstate New York. So luckily another Werner driver basically pulled up to do his sweeps beside me. He was telling me, don't leave, don't drive in this weather, because where I was in upstate New York, it was a lot of restricted routes. And it was a lot of tight turns and curves. So you don't want to be driving in the snow in those areas. And it took a long time to get out of that area to get to a major highway. So he told me not to go because the roads gets icy. I'm not taking no chances. So I'm like, I'm not leaving, right? So I remember talking to another dispatcher because I was under two dispatchers, right? They were acting and filling in until that location got a permanent dispatcher, right? So I was talking to him and I'm like, yo, the load really wore me out. Like, I'm legit, it's like I'm in pain, basically. Because I'm like, this is a heavy ass trailer. And the fact that they took away my load and gave it to somebody else, that already pissed me off, because I know there was no issues at all until I said I want to switch from the account. So I did the load. I stayed over, and I'm omitting little pieces because I don't want to draw this video out, right? So I did the load. I remember I was talking to the dispatcher and they had a sweep. So I had a sweep to go do after that, right? And I was like, yo, I'm not doing this sweep. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm already in another day. After the heavy ass load, I'm not doing this sweep, right? So I didn't leave. I stayed at the location until the next morning. So I remember when I was even telling the dispatcher that I didn't do sleep, it's like he was kind of upset or agitated. And in my head, I'm like, what are you upset about? There's nothing for you to upset about. And this is the next part that really pisses me off as someone who's new to trucking, right? I can just imagine how the other truckers feel. You're out there risking your life. You're driving in some bad weathers, and you have people sitting in an office dictating how you run. They want to dictate how you run. You get me? They want to tell you, oh, just do this, do that. Are you the one driving? No. What are you getting mad for? I realize that they take a lot of stuff personally with the drivers that they don't need to. What are you upset about? You're not out here to see the weather. I am. Why are you upset? You get to go home and sleep in your nice cozy bed, and we're stuck out here. What is your issue? I made an executive call because an experienced driver told me not to leave, and I wasn't leaving. So, not to draw it out, but he left the same time as me, and I went back to the distribution center and everything. So I did the load. Remember I told you that was 30 something thousand. My loads are normally 3 to 4 stops at 38,000. So that's distributed not evenly, but the load weight is distributed in a better weight, right? So I went back to the DC, and I'm trying not to omit everything because, like I said, I'm going to have to do this video in parts, so I'm not drawing out the video. So it's going to have to be a to be continued video. So I remember I got back to the DC. I'm trying to pick up from here. I don't remember if it was my home time or what. Yes, it was my home time. I went home. I did my 34-hour reset. Normally for my 34-hour reset, before the weekend come, because I was now on Thursday, Friday, because something happened where I messed up my days off being Saturday and Sunday. So now I'm Thursday, Friday. So by Saturday morning, I should be going back to the DC to get a load. So Friday, before the dispatcher leaves, they normally call me and give me my load details, or they update it in workflow. This particular time, I didn't get any load. So I'm sitting there, no load. Now I'm already feeling kind of uncomfortable because I'm like, yo, I saw what they did to me because I mentioned I want to switch. They took away my good load and gave me a very bad load, which I've seen them do to other drivers. But I was like, damn, I ain't do nothing wrong. All I said is that I want to switch because of safety. Y'all care about safety so much, but when I mention safety, y'all don't really care about it. So what is it? Do you care about safety or not? So I went home. I'm there waiting. I don't see any load information, but I made sure that every single thing I detailed in the tablet. I detailed in the tablet to show I'm telling you I'm available for a load. I wrote I am available for a load. When am I going to get my load? I'm asking, when am I going to get this? No answer, right? Off hours team finally answered and they said, oh, the off hours team, we do not schedule loads. So I'm like, okay, Tatiana, be smart. Make sure that Saturday morning you're at the DC, right? Get to the DC because there's a stipulation with the guaranteed pay, and that's a whole other video I got to talk about, guys. Your pay, how much you got to watch your pay like a hawk, but I digress. Let me stay on track. So I went to the DC because I want to be like, you can track the truck. So I want the truck to show that the GPS to show that I'm at the DC when I was supposed to be, because in the guaranteed pay, there's a stipulation that as long as you are available for work, you get your guaranteed pay. That's it. You should be available for work. Hence why I made sure I put in the tablet that I need a load. I'm available for a load. So nobody can say I was not available to work or refusing to work. Finally get somewhere. I get called from one of the dispatchers. Oh, like basically, Tatiana, what happened? We thought that you were no longer with us. And I'm like, what? I'm like, how can I no longer be with you guys? That was a couple days ago. I said I mentioned to a dispatcher that I want to switch the account. He told me to call whatever department I need to call, and that was it. At what point did I tell you that I got into the another department or another account? At what point did we confirm that I'm leaving the account? So that's what it did. Dispatcher went to the manager, told him I'm leaving the account, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and that's how the retaliation started, because I'm leaving the account. So why give me a good load if I'm not going to be with them? I'm like, no, I didn't get anywhere. I called to see if there was an account open. All of the accounts magically are full right now at Werner, so I can't go anywhere. I'm stuck. There's no way for me to go, right? So they finally worked it out now, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna call the manager so he can get a load. I got a load, right? So I spoke to the manager because I said, you know what? I told him honestly, I'm like, I'm not trying to be hard or not trying to be difficult. I want to succeed on the account. You know, I'm at a month now, and I didn't think that would last a month, right? We had a whole fake conversation because I just feel like he was being fake anyways, you know, but he wanted to have the conversation with me, but I didn't think it was genuine at all. But I remember he mentioned to me that I'm the second girl that lasted that long on the Dollar General account. I'm the second one, and I only lasted a month, right? February 28th was basically a month I lasted on that account. So if I'm the second woman to last that long, that just shows you at that DC, women don't survive at that DC. Meanwhile, in Virginia and other locations, there's a lot of females who's been on the Dollar General account for months, right? But that DC, nah, a month. Second female to last that long at that DC. So I talked to him, and I was just having a heart-to-heart and blah, blah, because I don't want to be like, oh, I'm coming off as a difficult person. I don't want anybody to label me as the black female attitude, Jamaican attitude, hard to deal with. So I talked to him, and I thought we were good. Like, I'm like, yo, like, the loads don't make no sense. If a guy refused to do the load, 2 stops, overweight, why would you give that load to me as a woman and think that it would be okay for me? You get what I'm saying? It don't make no sense for you to do that, right? But whatever, I sucked it up because I'm playing the game smart. I got a load. I don't remember. I don't know if it went to Maryland, PA. Got a nice load, guys. I'm thinking I'm back on track. I'm gonna just tell us a bomber clot because this spot deserves a bomber clot. I'm thinking I'm good. I'm gonna just try to suck it up and see how long I can last on Dollar General, right? Because I really wanted to last long on the account. So next load that I get now, I'm feeling like I'm good. Tell me why I look at that load, guys. And that was February 27th. 28th would have been the day I had to do the load, the last day in February. I went to the DC. I picked up the bill of lading. Tell me why it was 2 stops. I don't even remember if it was going to PA or Maryland, but 2 stops. And guess how much that trailer weighed? It weighed 44,900 and something. And I have all my bill of lading. So I'm going to show y'all at probably in another video. I'll try to show y'all how the bill of lading and all that stuff, like whatever information I can show you about bill of lading, I will. So 44,900 and something, I remember specifically. 2 stops. I remember, I ain't gonna lie, I felt so defeated because I'm like, yo, they're doing it again. After I just had a long conversation, they're doing it to me again. And then I remember certain factors started to change. Instead of the dispatcher calling me, he no longer, the same one, the same man, the same one that I told that I was gonna try and switch, him. He didn't call me the first time or whatever. He just sent the load details. So I started reviewing the load now, guys, and it said 44,000, 2 stops. But that wasn't the only problem. Basically, they gave me 3 days. 3 days to finish the load. They wanted me to do 1 trailer for 3 days to get me into my home time because they know it was overweight. And remember, I complained the last time. So they're giving me days to finish the account, 3 days. In 3 days, I could do 2 trailers. But you want me to spend time on 1 trailer that's overweight, right? Now, remember, I already talked about safety. So I looked at that. So 1, it was overweight. 1, 2 stops. I already know what I was going to deal with. 3, it was a restricted mandatory. It was a mandatory drop off. For this store, I think I had to drop off between, 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., right? I don't remember if it's 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. I think it was 5 a.m. to 8 a.m., something like that, right? Yeah, something like that. But regardless, that doesn't matter. So let's just say it was a restricted and the end time was 8 a.m., right? When I looked at it, I'm like, 8 a.m. for a load this heavy? Ain't no way I'm going to finish it within 2 hours or 3 hours. This is not going to happen. The last one took me 6 freaking hours and it wasn't that heavy. This one's heavier, right? So I looked at it and the bill of lading sometimes, the Dollar General, it will tell you basically, certain notes to set you up. It will tell you if you can't park there. It will tell you not to enter at this location. It will just tell you certain stuff to set you up correctly. This particular bill of lading says you have to be done by 8 a.m. You cannot be parked in the parking lot after 8 a.m. Yeah, you see the bullshit I'm going through with my storage. So I'm back on the camera. I'm going to be quick, so I'm going to have to cut this video short and pick back up on the next one. So yeah, I basically couldn't stay in the parking lot after 8 a.m. So I was like, let me Google satellite to see what the parking lot set up at, and they were right. So basically where the unloading section is, that's where the customer parking is. So if I was to block that area, the customers wouldn't have parking and they couldn't get in and out of the location, you know. So I understood why they said you can't be there till 8 a.m. So if I can't park there, right, it's not like a case where I would have to shut down and park on the parking, the grounds, the Dollar General. I can't even stay there. So that means I would have to leave the Dollar General, go to a truck stop, rest area, wherever I could park up, right? And waste, what, maybe 7 hours? I would have to waste 7 hours that I could be using to unload. You get what I'm saying? Waste 7 hours, then come back the next day and use the other 3 hours to unload. So I'm like, okay, y'all gave me 3 days to get into my home time. I'm like, honestly, that moment I said to myself, I'm not doing this shit. This is it for me. I'm not doing this. I'm not begging anyone to do right by me when it comes to a freaking load. I see what it is. I'm not going to be over here begging to be treated better on this account. It's just bullshit. You get me? It's all bullshit. So that day, I decided to myself, I said, God, this is it for me. I don't care what happened at this point. I know I could just go apply for another trucking company, but I really, really, really and truly was trying to just hold out with Werner for like 6 months, right? That day, I put the bill of lading back in the little bin. I went back to my truck. I did my 10-hour sleeper, and I got up right away in the morning once my sleeper time was done, and I drove to the terminal. And I went to the terminal because I want them to know where I was. So you can't say I went home, I abandoned the job, nothing like that. I went to the terminal. And I made sure that I had something to fix on the truck. So I can be like, I need you to look at something on the truck. So I had a reason to be at the terminal. But my reason for going was because I was just done. So I had to speak to someone in safety to see if I can get on an account. What can I do? The end conclusion, guys, it's nothing they could do. at a terminal, they can't help you with nothing. It's the same thing. Call career, whatever, driver experience, whatever. That's the only answers I'm getting. And I'm like, yo, all of the accounts are full. There's nowhere for me to go. I don't understand how a mega carrier doesn't have solo over the road. They don't have no regional accounts for me to go on. Nothing at all. I was stuck. And at that point, I decided I was not gonna go back. So whatever it is, it is. It just is what it is. But I care about my physical health, my body not being torn down, and I don't want to deal with a mental bullshit. What I find funny is that there's so much stress about safety when you're doing your orientation or whatever, when you just start out. But when is it that someone's going to talk about it being unsafe? The fact that drivers are driving for how many hours? You have to unload 3 to 4 to 5 locations. You got to pick up rotainers at the end, and you got to do a sweep at the end of that at a different location. Why is it nobody saying it's unsafe to be unloading so many products, heavy ass products, then you gotta get up and go drive? That shit's freaking unsafe to me. But we do it, we get the job done, right? So long story short, for there, I never went back to Dollar General. I remember they were hounding me, asking me if I'm gonna come back, what am I doing, blah blah blah, all this stuff. I ain't coming back to that bullshit ass Bethel, PA. And I tried my best to see. I was even willing to switch to Virginia, but they told me I couldn't go. I have to live within the area, or I have to move. And the DC, it was full. So guys, I'm getting blocked by all areas. Everything is full. At the end of it, you know what the option was? Canada. The Coca-Cola account was full now, so Coca-Cola wasn't even an option. It was Canada or team driving. Team driving, that was it. For some reason now, all we can do is team drive with Werner. It's just team drive, team drive, team drive. Now I felt disappointed because when I started the company, the main thing that got me into Dollar General is because I was told, it doesn't matter if it's not the account for you, you can switch at any time. You can always find an account to switch. Well, damn, I don't have an account to switch to now. I'm legit begging for an account. Team driving. So I'm gonna stop the video here and pick up on another one, because yeah, now I'm in a new situation, guys. So literally, I'm no longer Dollar General. I can't do solo over the road because it's not open. There's no account for me to go on. So guess what? I'm team driving. So I'm gonna pick up on the next video to let you know about my team driving experience. And you're gonna want to watch this because I can't believe what I had to go through. But I left Dollar General and I tried team driving. But you're gonna want to hear the story. Trust me. But all in all, I'm gonna say that Dollar General, if you're at a good DC distribution center, you get a good fleet manager, it can work out for you. You know, don't think it can't. And you can make money on the account. But I just find that you have so much stuff to deal with these dollar accounts. You don't need to have issues with your fleet manager or people taking stuff personally, which I think they do. They take stuff personally when it just needs to be about the job. Stop having grudges against your driver. Stop doing things to retaliate against your driver. Nobody want to deal with that and have to go drive a semi truck. It's not mentally like healthy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna stop right here. Again, this is my experience. It doesn't mean it's going to be yours. But based on what I'm seeing right now, it's a lot of push for team driving. That's all I'm hearing about, team driving. And yeah, once I get down to the rest of my days for a month, you'll see like or understand, you know, certain stuff that I'm saying. But I'm 100% disappointed. I feel like everything was presented to me one way, and then in the end, there was a bunch of changes that occurred, and we never were told. We didn't have an email that says, yo, this is what's gonna happen, we're making a change, yada yada yada. It was just boom, just like that. Everything changed for me just because I mentioned I want to switch accounts. That's it. That's all it took, right? So I'm gonna end the video right now. If y'all have any questions, I'll answer it. I don't have any problem. I have a lot more to share. So I know I have to do the logbooks to show you guys the logbooks and stuff like that. And yes, I am with a new company. Unfortunately, well, fortunately for me, I was able to have a friend that got me into a really good company, but unfortunately, due to the nature of their business, I can't mention the company. Yeah, it would be dumb to mention it, but I got into a really good company. So one door closed and another one open. So I'm gonna catch up on the next video with you guys, but as usual, like, share, subscribe. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's just trucking it Tati. I have it on my page, so the information is on my YouTube channel. You can follow my TikTok, and honestly, it's good to follow there. I'm not telling you to follow because I'm trying to grow my following. I really could give two shits about Instagram. But I share more contents there, and I have like a trucker what do you call those, highlight. I have a trucking highlight that has more detailed videos, shows where I'm going, all the locations that I went through. I have little snippets you can see, but I share more personal little stuff on my stories, you know, about driving and all that. So you can follow me on there just to see that whole thing. And in TikTok, I have the videos on TikTok too. But definitely like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for the subs so far, for everybody subscribing. I'll continue to do my best just to be as transparent as I can be, but I'm about to sign out because I gotta put these videos together so I can upload it for you guys. But yeah, I'll try to see if I can do the other video within this week, so I can let you know how the team driving. Yeah, you're not gonna want to miss this. But bye y'all, I'm just gonna end the video here. So to be continued, I'll catch you in the next video. Bye y'all.